Okay, so we were also talking about worst dates. There was this story in the Huffington Post online. And it's a photo, and can we pull this photo up? Because this is a couple, and they're out on a date at Olive Garden. And the guy apparently is so uninterested in his date, he takes the menu and builds like a menu fort. And he's sitting behind the menu, and this is what's happening across the table. He puts up the menu, and then the waitress comes and takes it away, and then he starts messing on his phone.
Okay, I know why he's doing that.
Why?
He's seeing an old girlfriend or his wife in the restaurant, and he's hiding from her.
There's the photo right there. Look at him behind the menu. I mean,
maybe he was just trying to be funny. We really know that's what was going on.
And look at her. You can see her on her phone, too. She's like,
texting
okay,
her
whatever.
friends like, oh, my God, someone call me and tell me there's an emergency.
She's like, he just bought me a Coke at Olive Garden, and now he's under a menu fort.
So that's what's your worst day? What's your worst day?
I had a day. It was when I was anchoring the news in Salt Lake City, and I was doing the weekend news. So I had an early show and a late show. So I had a very small window, and I would plan dates in that small window so that I always had an excuse to leave. And I was so glad that I did that on this particular date, because we're sitting there and we're eating, and he says to me, and he's like chewing with his mouth open, which is so disgusting anyway, but he says to me, say something to me in your anchor voice.
Ooh. He wants you to talk dirty to him at the dinner table.
In your anchor voice. Ooh. I was like, well, how about, bye, don't ever call me again.
You said that?
No, but I mean, that's just so stupid.
So,
you know?
Yeah. Here's my worst date. I was doing Bottoms Up at the Century Room at the Adolphus Hotel. The musical.
What does that
wait
mean?
a minute. The musical. Just let me get on with my story.
I just want to know what
Bottoms Up was a show. It ran for years in Vegas and everywhere, and I was in that show.
Okay.
All right. In the same town were the cast and crew from The Music Man. The Buffalo Bills, who did all the music in the Broadway musical, were in town, a quartet. Light a Rose, I'm home again, Rose, that kind. I meet one of them, big, tall, handsome guy. And so we have breakfast at the hotel. We don't sleep together. We don't do anything like that. He corresponds with me. I love his singing. He invites me to come to Missouri, to St. Louis. And the Cardinals are playing, and Ted Williams is going to be up to bat. And so I go up there. I'm so excited. I fly up to St. Louis, be with the guy, this big-looking, good-looking guy. I get off the plane. We go to the hotel. He meets me. Light a Rose, I'm home again, Rose. We go to the hotel. He sits down and he says, there's something I need to tell you. And I said, what? He said, I'm married.
Oh, Lord.
That's a bummer.
Bye to Rose, I'm bye to Rose. I go to the airport, get on the airplane, come home. That's my worst date. A broken heart, a broken heart.
And you've never been the same since.
Woman.
Awful.
You're scarred.
What was your worst date?
Actually, mine was, I was the one who was not so cool. You know? I know, right?
What'd you do?
Well, okay, so I really had this, my heart was really with somebody else, but he wasn't acting right at the time, so I started dating this other guy. And so I was with this other guy, and the one I really liked had a change of heart, knew I was out with somebody else. And back then, you know, you didn't have cell phones as much, you had pagers, and he was paging me through the dinner. And I kept sneaking off from the dinner to go call the other guy in the bathroom.
So do you think that guy says that that's his worst date because you were leaving?
He's somewhere telling people that I was his worst date. Because
Did he know what you were doing?
No.
Well, he probably thought you had like an eating disorder or something. You were getting up and going to the bathroom.
But then after that, I ended up with that other guy. So he knew that my heart wasn't there. But when I think about it, how rude was that? Like, I was there with him, but I was really...
Would you not do it the same way?
No way. No, because it comes back to you. Absolutely, because it comes back around. Because then I got my heart broken the next time. That's why I said, wait,
was it did you get your heart broken from the guy who was paging you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
See?
That's why what goes around comes around. Don't do it. I tell people,
So true.
and it's not just guys who do that kind of stuff. I mean, I had game too back in the day.
Oh, did you?
Right. You know, I was a little player back in the day. You know,
all right, Courtney, my favorite story of yours was your New Year's Eve breakup story.
Well, that wasn't a bad day. I mean, it was obviously a bad situation. Yeah, I got broken up with during the countdown of New Year's.
Oh.
I mean, that's old news. That was like 3 years ago.
It's
but
like
it's a great
5,
story to
4,
tell. It was like 5,
I can't stand you anymore. 3, 2.
2, 1. And then I went back to Dallas the next day. And dropped his stuff off on his porch. And we never really talked
Any
again.
bad dates since then?
Well, I had a bad date that I'm actually going to blame on y'all.
What
Because we talked about prenups a couple weeks ago, and
I told you this started an argument in my house too. So
yes, and I said, well, I think it's important. Prenups aren't romantic. They're not meant to be romantic. They're a contract, and they just protect people and they protect their assets. And I just said I would not be opposed to one because I think any smart businesswoman would want to protect her assets, and any smart businessman would want to protect his. Period. So I go on a date and I start talking to this guy about it, and he's actually an attorney, and so he did not agree with me at all, and we kind of got in an argument at the dinner table because I was like, well, I would have a prenup, and he was like, well, are you just so cocky that like you think you need one and some guy might leave you and want to take all your stuff? And I was like, well,
yeah,
exactly. I'm not cocky, but I think that's the point of a prenup, is just to protect your assets. And
it just says it's a prenup. It is just in case. It's just in case that you know the guy's going to leave and you're going to split up, and then.
But here's the deal. I mean, I think when so many marriages do end in divorce, I don't want to get divorced. No, I'm sure none of y'all ever wanted to get divorced.
No, never.
But I think when so many marriages aren't successful, I think it's just important to protect yourself.
Well,
and I think waiting until I'm 30, you know, I'm 31 now, so by the time I get married, I'll be 90. But
my prenup was the stereo and the wingback chairs.
But I will tell y'all, the one that I had a prenup in ended in divorce. The one that I don't have a prenup in is still lasting. Bottom line. You're going to commercial.
I think to each their own.